Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Kristen Murphy. I'm a career counselor in CBS Career Services, and I'm happy to welcome you to our CBS Career Exploration Week kickoff event. My job today is going to be to walk you through some of the various events that we have going on this week that will hopefully aid you in whatever stage of career exploration you are currently engaged in, and also to give you a couple of resources and maybe some new ideas to explore different areas in industries, employers, get connected with other people, all to help you continue your career exploration process. So to get started, there we go. Okay, so events that we have this week. We have today, which is just our great kickoff event. And as I go through these events, I want you to know that you do not have to attend all of these events this week, but this is just a selection of some things that we think would be especially helpful and important for you as you go through the week in exploration. Tomorrow, we actually will have a virtual site visit with an employer called Aldevron. They are a leader in manufacturing in the life sciences and assisting with lab supplies and such. And they are having a virtual site visit at 11 o'clock tomorrow. And then also tomorrow and Wednesday, career coaches, me and my other colleague, Mary Shannon Bocock, will offer some drop-in times. So you can just drop in whenever it's convenient for you and ask your questions about career exploration or anything related to your career development process. We also have an Alumni Insights Career Exploration series all through the month of October, and we will have a session this week called Feeling Industrious, Explore Careers in Biotechnology and Biomedical Fields. That will be Wednesday in the late afternoon, and that'll be a chance for participants to get connected to CBS alumni who are working in biotechnology and biomedical fields and just learn a little bit more, hear from them about their career path, and you also be able to ask them questions about how they chose their career path, what their jobs are like, etc. And then on the Thursday, we have another session called What Do CBS Alums Do? So my colleague Casey will be presenting on some alumni insights for CBS graduates for the last several years, so you can learn a little bit more about where students go once they graduate with a degree from CBS. I also want to make mention that during this presentation today, you will have a chance to ask some questions. So I will save the last 5 or so minutes of our half hour together to answer your questions. You can just simply type your questions in the Q&A and I'll address them at the end of our session. And also this presentation will be made available to all attendees. So as I go through some of the resources in the session, just know that you'll be able to refer to these resources at a later date. I also wanted to take a minute just to introduce the CBS Career Team. So we are made up of 4 people. Forrest McMillan is our Assistant Director. Mary Shannon Bocock is a career coach. Me, Kristen Murphy, I'm also a career coach. And then Casey Johnson is the Employer Engagement Coordinator. And our job in career services is to work with students and also recent alumni on exploring who they are, what's available in the world of work, and really anything to do with the exploration process or actually the process of going to graduate school or professional school or learning more about the job search process. So students are able to make an appointment with us at any point, and the information about how to do that will be at the end of the presentation. I also wanted to just give you a sense of how we work with students. So before we really get into the nuts and bolts of career exploration, I think it's important to know how we view career development. So this we call our career development wheel, and it's in a circle, it's a wheel, because we believe that the career development process is cyclical in nature. So I'll just explain this really briefly. So over here in the yellow section of the chart, this is where career counselors like myself would see a lot of students who might just be getting started at the university. And it's a chance for you to assess who you are in terms of your skills, your interests, your abilities, your personality, your values, and things like that, and learn a little bit more about what those elements mean in terms of a career for you and a career that would be a really good fit. Once you know a bit about yourself, then typically you move into this orange area here, which we call research. And that's when you can do some investigation about careers that may be a good fit for you, those kinds of occupations that match your interests. And most of what we'll be talking about today revolves around this orange section of the wheel. Once you've researched careers, then very often you move into an experience area. So this is when you're trying things out. You're learning about careers, possibly through research experiences. Maybe you have an internship, maybe you have a part-time job, maybe you're volunteering or shadowing. So you're really, getting to know a little bit more about what a career is like through that experience. And then once you're closer to graduation, you're acting. And this is when you are getting ready to take your next step. And you're starting out in your career, maybe you're going to graduate school, but you're preparing for life as an adult outside of college. And this last area here, which we call maintain or maintenance, this is when you might be in a career or in a role, and you have to evaluate your success, your happiness. Usually in this area, this is where we see quite a few of our younger alumni when they're just getting into the workforce possibly, and then they may have new experiences, values may have changed, their life may have changed, and very often then after a couple of years of working, they're right back here into this assessment piece again. So it's really kind of a cyclical process, and as you go through the wheel, at each step you can reflect, right in the center, reflect on who you are and how you fit into the world of work based on these different elements. Okay, so I think the process of career exploration really starts for most of us when we're young, and we're asked this question: what do you want to be when you grow up? And when we're young, a lot of our ideas come from fantasy usually, or the kinds of things that we see around us. So jobs that our parents might have or other family members. We see what our teachers do, etc. And as we get older, we can expand out a little bit because we learn more about the world of work through teachers and through friends, parents, and all sorts of other things. So we start the process of exploration very, very early, but usually by the time you start college, most students would have usually a couple of ideas about what they might want to do when they graduate. It's not typical usually for people to be very certain about what they want to do, but sometimes they are. But typically when I'm working with students, it seems like most students have several ideas, but they're not sure exactly what they want to be doing. And that's where the career research can really be helpful. When we're thinking about how we decide what to do with our lives in our careers, there's a couple of factors that we're considering. So we have our family expectations and responsibilities. We may also have some cultural stereotypes and gender stereotypes. We have survival needs. So ideas about what we want to do based on, how much money we need to make. We rely on other people's opinions. Sometimes we create ideas about jobs we want to do through movies or social media. And we're definitely at the whim of the job market too. And the job market in several ways predicts what we're going to be doing with our lives based on the availability of jobs. We also have some internal factors like what we think of ourselves, what we think we're good at. I mentioned earlier those skills, interests, abilities, our values, those kinds of elements are really important factors. And then we have our confidence level. So how confident do we feel like that we would be successful in a particular career? Then we have all kinds of fears too that kind of determine how likely we are to pursue a certain career. Fear of failure, fear of making a wrong decision, or the belief that there's one right career, one perfect career for you. Also have maybe fear of change, fear of the unknown, those kinds of factors. So those are important things to just take note of when we're thinking about how to explore and how we have even developed the ideas about what we might want to do when we get older. Okay, so I kind of like this image of a Rubiks Cube. So on each face or each square of this Rubiks Cube, there are different kinds of words, things that could play a role in your own career plan. So for example, calc right there in the center. So how well you do in your calculus class may determine, your ability to get into graduate school. Flat tire over on the left. So if you get a flat tire on the way to your interview, how would you handle that? That might affect your career. Your GPA might affect the kinds of jobs you do or the graduate school that you attend. And the economy as well. So again, what is happening with the economy? What is going on? So depending on how you play with this Rubik's Cube and which ways you rotate it, there are really a lot of factors that we can't predict, okay? So there's lots of different ways that this Rubik's Cube could turn out, depending on things that are partially in our control and also some things that are out of our control. So the person who first talked about this Rubik's Cube is named Jim Bright. He's an organizational psychologist in Australia. And he developed, along with another person, something called the chaos theory of careers. And I really like this quote from Jim. There are many influences on your career decision-making, such as facts, people, economies, events, emotions, and they all impact each other. If each cube face on a Rubik's Cube represented one thing that can impact your career plan, there would be 43 quintillion number of possibilities. So your time might be better spent preparing for chance and change than for a linear plan written in stone. And the reason that this kind of theory is developed is because we notice that when working with people, there's a perception that we go from a career beginning at point A and we get to point B and it's a very linear path. But what we also know from life experience and talking to many people is that many career paths really aren't linear. They're kind of tangential, they go off in different directions. We might have a plan or an idea for ourselves, and then, you know, as we're going toward our plan and making progress, something will intersect that plan and lead us into a new area. So I think it's important to be open to possibilities, and the chaos theory of careers would say that it's helpful to be engaged in planning for your career, but to also be open to the vast number of unpredictable events and possibilities that will come into your life as you go forward. That may be really fruitful in getting you into a career that you're very happy with. Okay, so even if you, you know, have a lot of clarity and about what you want to do, or maybe you're thinking, I know that I really like my major, I'm not sure how I can apply my major to a degree. There's a lot of possibilities, even outside of the life sciences. So in CBS, we might be thinking about the life sciences, but there's really a number of other things that you can do. So I'm going to spend the next piece of our time together just going through several resources that I think can be very helpful in aiding in the exploration process. The different kinds of things that I'm going to be talking about can be represented in this particular slide. So some of the things here, it's almost like a pathway. You might start at the bottom with some online research, and as you go forward, you might look at job descriptions to get clues about what a career is like. You might be volunteer, join a student club. You might have an internship or research job. And all of these activities have different levels of time and commitment. So down here, there's minimal effort. These kind of activities toward the lower half of the screen are really not very time consuming. Maximum effort is exerted when you're actually experiencing the thing, doing some research in a job, in an internship. So we'll explore these in a little bit more detail. One thing that I wanted to point out to you right away, and I'll be going through a little bit in some detail, are some CBS major pages that we've developed that link majors in CBS and describe a little bit about those majors and give some insights about what students are currently doing or alumni are currently doing in those majors. And then goldpass.umn.edu is an excellent resource for several of the things I'm going to describe. ONET Online is another resource for career exploration. And again, the Occupational Outlook Handbook is one other. So here is a little bit of a glimpse at the CBS major pages that I just mentioned. So as you can see here, we have just 3 examples here, but for example, biology, we explain a little bit about what the biology major is like. And then we survey our graduates, and we've taken information from the last several years, and we've asked our students where they're working, what kinds of jobs they're in, so they have entry-level job titles, the kinds of employers where they might be working, graduate school programs that students in this major might go into, average salary, and then also some professional associations. So you'll be able to find this very soon on our website. Also, like I said, this presentation will be made available to everyone, and the link to these major pages will be in that presentation. And there's a Z link up here actually as well. Reading job descriptions, I think, is an excellent way to do a little bit of exploration. Goldpass.umn.edu is an excellent site to go to, and you might just look at a job or internship description, read about the qualifications or requirements, and then ask yourself how that fits in with your skills, abilities, and the goals that you have for yourself. Goldpass also has several career exploration resources, including one called What Can I Do with This Major? So here's just an example of the major that I chose, biochemistry, and it gives information about the kinds of things I can do with a biochemistry degree. It also will walk you through different industries and employers and give you a sense of where might someone with a biochemistry degree be working, and then also strategies that might help you if you're a biochemistry major, for example, and are wondering how to get involved and how to prepare for a career within your major. Goldpass also has information from a resource called Candid Career, which are essentially, it's a database of videos from people in all kinds of careers. So I grabbed a screenshot here from a person from the University of Minnesota who's a lab technician, and this person describes what they do day to day and gives a bit of information about how they got started, what they like about the role, some challenges for them, and advice for people who are thinking about going into their job as a lab technician. There's also some other areas in science here, and so you're welcome to go look at Candid Career. Again, that's also on goldpass.umn.edu. Online resources. ONET Online is an excellent tool for careers. I looked for I searched genetics, and I came up with all sorts of different kinds of job titles or careers related to genetics. And so you can click on any of these possibilities, and it will take you to information all about the career, including expected job growth, average salary for your area, and the kinds of educational preparation that you would need in order to pursue that particular career. Another excellent way to explore careers is through your involvement. Student clubs through Gopher Link, which is our University of Minnesota student club and student engagement link, can be a great way to just see the myriad of careers that CBS students are involved in. There are CBS kinds of clubs. There are also just general clubs within the university. Even sports can be a way to explore because you have connections with other teammates and who might be exploring different kinds of careers that would eventually help you to learn a little bit more. Volunteerism is another excellent way to explore. There's a website here for the Center for Community Engaged Learning at the U, and at this website you can explore all the different kinds of volunteer opportunities, including some virtual volunteering opportunities to be engaged in. Connecting with other people is something else that I think is virtually one of the more important things to be doing. So as you're a student here, you should definitely try to attend some events. And I've highlighted just a couple of things here. One thing right at the top is something that CBS is going to be hosting this month of October 2020. We have a CBS Alumni Insights Career Exploration series. I mentioned that earlier in the presentation, but each week we'll have a different topic area, and alumni from that topic area are going to be engaging with students to talk about how they chose their career and how they got on their career path. And you're welcome to attend those. It's open to only 16 students per session. So that's something that you'll definitely want to sign up for. And again, the presentation will have that information about how to sign up, and I will send that to you. There are also some virtual career fairs this year. At the end of October, there's the University Government and Nonprofit Career Fair. There's also the University of Minnesota Job and Internship Fair, which will be virtual this February. It's a very good time to meet with employers and learn a little bit more about what they're looking for and try to, again, determine from what you hear from these employers, does it sound like it would be a fit for you, given what you know about yourself and the kinds of things that you'd like to do. And site visits to employers are another great way to get connected. Again, as a reminder, Aldevron, tomorrow, October 6th, will be our CBS virtual site visit, which you can attend. Informational interviews with professionals are great ways to get connected. And then alumni connections through the CBS Student Alumni Mentor Network is a possibility. the Maroon and Gold Network, and also using LinkedIn Alumni Insights to get connected to our alumni who might be in certain careers, who you could chat with virtually via LinkedIn or via Zoom or Google Hangouts, and you can ask them some questions about their career. So when you're reaching out to someone and exploring through connecting, you're probably going to be conducting something called an informational interview. And an informational interview, if you have never heard of that, is an opportunity for you to ask some strategic questions to learn about someone's career. So it's very different than a job interview. But you might be asking questions like, how did you get involved in this industry? What do you like about it? What are the challenges? What is the culture like? And what advice would you have for me if I'm thinking about pursuing something similar to this career? So thinking about, using the Maroon and Gold Network and LinkedIn is really a good idea. And a career coach at CBS, me or my colleague Mary Shannon, we're happy to walk you through how to use those tools in detail. So the most time-consuming way to explore a career is probably to explore through experience. And by that, I mean actually having an internship, having a job, having some research experience. All things that are harder to do now that we are in a pandemic, but not impossible. So goldpass.umn.edu, also called Handshake. It's a resource I've mentioned several times already. This resource will give you some information about jobs and internships that are available to you right now. Some of those jobs or internships might be conducted virtually. And Handshake or Goldpass does have the feature where you can search for jobs across the country. So that may open up some possibilities for you if you're looking for an internship or job, that if you could do something virtually in another state, that might be an option. But again, Goldpass or Handshake is an excellent job and research tool. And it really, when you have an internship or a job or research experience, that's when you're getting connected to other people, whether it be graduate students, other employees and their family members, and you can expand your network out that way and really, really learn what it's like to be in a specific career because you're asking questions of the people that you're working alongside of. So just to review this again, I kind of went over different ways that you could explore careers in industry. Those that require minimal effort to those that are a little bit more time consuming, more effortful. There are other possibilities here as well. I only talked about a couple, like some, but what I would recommend people do is if you are thinking about exploring, try to determine which of these things you could do easily and try to figure out when you could do the thing. So if it's easy for you to look at job descriptions to explore careers, then you might want to say, I can do this within the next month. If it's a little bit more challenging for you to join a student club or to set up an informational interview or shadowing opportunity, then you might want to think about, okay, I think I'll think about an informational interview for sometime during winter break. That seems like it would be a good time for me to set up a call or a Zoom chat with a professional and ask them about their career. So I would say try to choose two that you think one might be easier for you to do, one might be more challenging, and try to commit to a time frame about when you might be able to pursue that possibility. So I'm almost at the end of the presentation. So if you do have some questions, this would be a great time to put it in the Q&A so I can answer. But just before we end, I wanted to highlight a little bit more about the CBS Alumni Insight series that I've mentioned a few times. So here's the Z link for you if you're interested in attending any of these things. Again, each week there'll be a different topic area addressed. So this week we're looking at careers in biotechnology and biology. And then next week we'll have actually a week devoted to pre-health. And there are two events that may be of interest to people who are exploring health professions. One on Wednesday, so you want to be a physician. Another on Friday, Beyond Medical School, which kind of gets into a little bit like what are other careers besides just medicine, but that are also related to healthcare that might be of interest to me. The following week, we have careers at the intersection of science and society. And then also on Wednesday, October 28th, we have the graduate school alumni career offering. So you're welcome to attend any of those at all. Again, they're only open to 16 students. And so go to the Z link if you're interested in any of those to register right away. Additional resources, if you would like to talk about career exploration in depth or learn how to use LinkedIn to explore careers, learn how to use Goldpass, schedule an assessment so you can learn more about your interests or your skills, have a resume review. If you're thinking that you're ready for a job or internship or research experience, you can schedule an appointment with one of the career coaches at the following link here. And then again, just a reminder that this is the URL for the Maroon and Gold Network. That's our alumni student networking platform at the university. We also have a CBS LinkedIn group for students, and it's at the following Z link. And then I've mentioned it a couple times already, Goldpass powered by Handshake, where you can find a lot of career resources related to exploring what you could do with your major, what people are doing in various careers, jobs, and internships, all at Goldpass. So that is all the information that I have for you. So I will be here for another minute. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And if not, then thank you for joining me today. And please feel free to attend as many of our career events this week as you can. Thanks.